So let's talk about a few questions of test 25 national test Abhyas. So first question, which kind of pyramid will be obtained if a small standing crop of lower trophic levels support large standing crop of higher trophic levels? Now, first of all, you have to know about what is standing crop. Standing crop is the standing crop is amount of living matter or biomass, amount of living matter or organic matter or matters or biomass, amount of living matter or organic matter or biomass present at a particular time in an ecosystem, right? Present at a particular time in an ecosystem called standing crop, right? Now here see that the which of the pyramid will be obtained if a small standing crop or lower trophic levels, and we know that the pyramid, so now we see that pyramid can be classified, pyramid, number of pyramid, pyramid of number, number pyramids, pyramid of number, pyramid of number, pyramid of biomass, pyramid of biomass, and pyramid of energy, pyramid of energy. Now pyramid of number, it may be inverted or upright. Inverted, it possible it may be inverted or upright. Biomass also may be inverted or upright, but pyramid of energy always upright. Pyramid of energy always upright. Now see the question, which kind of pyramid will be obtained if small standing crop in lower trophic level? Now see that in case of biomass have a small standing crop in the lower trophic level, these are lower trophic levels. Suppose biomass of producer, biomass of producer, biomass of primary consumer, and top top trophic level or higher trophic levels. So primary consumer, biomass of primary consumer, biomass of secondary consumers. So this type of pyramid is inverted pyramid, right? This type of pyramid is an inverted type of pyramid. So because here, so inverted pyramid, so pyramid of biomass also possible upright and the inverted type of pyramid. In case of like in case of pond ecosystem, we found that type of inverted type of pyramid of biomass is present. So answer is option C. Energy pyramid always in upright, never be inverted. Now next question. Now, reverse transcriptase enzyme actually used in, we know that in central dogma, during central dogma, we have discussed that central dogma DNA to DNA synthesis, in central dogma, DNA to DNA, DNA to RNA, and RNA to protein. So DNA to DNA synthesis, the enzyme, this a process is called replication. Enzyme is DNA polymerase. DNA polymerase. Now, DNA polymerase, you also can write it as DNA dependent DNA polymerase. DNA polymerase also can be written as a DNA dependent DNA polymerase. DNA to RNA, that's because DNA is a template. So DNA dependent and DNA synthesis, that is DNA dependent DNA polymerase or DNA polymerase. Now DNA to RNA is process is called transcription. Enzymes here, RNA polymerase. Now RNA polymerase also can be write as DNA dependent RNA polymerase. DNA dependent RNA polymerase. DNA dependent RNA polymerase. Now RNA to DNA, these are actually asking the question. RNA to DNA is the reverse transcription. This process is called reverse transcription. Enzyme is reverse transcriptase. Reverse transcriptase. So reverse transcriptase, and this enzyme reverse transcriptase we also can be write as, because it's a RNA using RNA to DNA conversion, so RNA dependent DNA polymerase. RNA dependent DNA polymerase. So RNA dependent DNA polymerase. So answer is the RNA dependent DNA polymerase, that is reverse transcript. And RNA to protein, we know that it's a translation. Now, so answer is RNA dependent DNA polymerase. So next question. Now, which of the following statements are true? The cells of malignant tumor divide erratically. Yes, cells of malignant tumor, because malignant or cancerous cells divide enormously, and then that's it. Option 1 is correct. More than a million of of more than a million Indians suffer from cancer, and a large number of them die it's annually. Yes, large number of die annually because of different types of cancer. Most of the lung cancer, and in case of different types of gastric cancers are there. So majority of the now now they show a property called contact inhibition. Now cancer cells do not show contact do not inhibit due to contact inhibition. Normal cells inhibited due to contact inhibition. When a normal cell divide and they fulfill, suppose it's culture of a normal cells and a culture of a cancer cells. Now normal cells when divides and touch each other, they inhibit their growth. But cancer cells, they form multi-layer structure and they never inhibited, and they form group mass of cells, and that's why there is no they do not show the property of contact inhibition, and they form a group of cells called foci. So mass of cells, so cancer cell do not show contact inhibition. They show a property of contact inhibition. No, they do not show the property of contact inhibition. Metastasis is most feared property of malignant tumor. Yes, metastasis. We know that cancers during metastasis is a process from primary tumor cells migrate into the secondary other organs. Like in case of like suppose a tumor formation occurs in the lungs, and then the lungs tumor cells migrate into the brain, and then and form a secondary tumor into the in the brain. So they are the property shows the malignancy, as it's also important property of cancerous cells. So metastasis is the most feared properties of the malignant cells when cancer cell migrate via the bloodstream and form a secondary tumor into the other sides of the body, any other organs of the body from, like, so answer is option C, that is 1, 2 and 4. Now next question, which of the following is not observed in the biodiversity hotspot? We know that during biodiversity hotspot are not observed in endemism. We found in biodiversity hotspot found endemism, isolated species loss. Yes, there is a isolated species loss, habitat loss due to destruction of habitat destruction, due to invasion of some alien species or exotic species also, loss of biodiversity is there. And the interspecific competition, lesser interspecific competition, it's not that a higher interspecific competition is there in the biodiversity hotspot, and there is a species richness. So answer is option C. Now next question, the measures of resource enough to support a maximum possible number of species beyond which no further growth is possible is known as. We know that the two type of growth uh, curve is there. One is called J-shaped growth curve in population growth curve. There is two type of model is there. One is called J-shaped model, J-shaped growth curve. Another is the S-shaped growth curve. Now, J-shaped growth curve where the dNdt equal to Rn. dNdt equal to Rn. dNdt is actually growth rate. R is the biotic potential. N is the population number. Now, S-shaped growth curve actually here dNdt equal to Rn into 1 minus n by k. And here one important term, that is k equal to carrying capacity. Carrying capacity. So carrying capacity actually the beyond which the enough to support a maximum possible number of a species. That is the carrying capacity. If you see the graph in case of S-shaped growth model, x-axis and y-axis. In x-axis time versus n or number of individuals. If we plot, then we'll get the S-shaped growth curve. So here actually it's reached the saturation point. That is the carrying capacity. Carrying capacity or K. That's actually maximum beyond which the further or no growth is possible. Beyond which no growth is possible. So that is the carrying capacity. Now, so answer is C. So population growth, biotic potential. Now, None of this because it's a population growth, no. It's a biotic potential, no. So answer is option C. Now next question, Minamata disease is a pollution related disease. It results from, we know that Minamata is caused due to the presence of mercury into the release of industrial waste of content containing mercury to water. Several other diseases like in case of arsenic due to presence of arsenic called black foot disease. Black foot disease. Another is the presence of cadmium. Cadmium in the water or much amount than critical concentration, then it leads to disease called itai, or this name came from the Japanese as a severe pain that's due to cadmium, and these are black foot disease. So DDT pollution is not, and soil not. So accumulation of arsenic cause the black foot disease. So which of the following is an antiviral protein? Antiviral protein that's against works against viral infection. So during antiviral tetramycin is an antibiotic. So it is not penicillin, also antibiotic. Statin is a drugs that lower the blood cholesterol level. Statin use as a lowering blood cholesterol level. Blood cholesterol level. Statin used to lowers the blood cholesterol level. So interferon all in during viral infection, interferon is as an antiviral protein is produced, right? So interferon is the answer. The operon concept, regulatory gene function, as we know that operon is a group of genes organized in cluster transcribed in the same direction under the control of a single regulatory element. It's called operon. So operon is, suppose in case of lac operon, you have seen that lac operon consists of one part is the regulatory gene, another is the structural gene. Structural gene consists LAC-Z, LAC-Y, and LAC-A. And regulatory gene, let's say operator, promoter, and LAC-I or repressor. From LAC-I, repressor will produce. So operator side, where repressor molecule LAC-I produce repressor molecule bind into the operator, and promoter site, always promoter is the RNA polymerase binding site. Promoter is the where RNA polymerase to bind here, promoter site. So now this part is the structural gene, and these are the regulatory part of the gene. Regulatory part. So regulatory part, it's contain operator, promoter, and LAC-I. So LAC-I produce repressor. Repressor binds into the operator site. And now, so regulator, repressor, and inhibitor. Inhibitor LAC-I. So all of these are the correct answer. So answer is D. And in here, it's also you have to note that LAC-Z produce beta galactosidase enzyme. Beta galactosidase enzyme. LAC-Y produce beta galactosidase permease. And LAC-A produce beta galactosidase transacetylase. Transacetylase. Now, when lactoperon is a lactose present in the medium, when lactose is present in the medium, the gene are on condition, right? Lactose present in the medium, the lactoperon is on. If glucose is present, because so lactose converted into glucose. So glucose is the major energy source, right? Now, when glucose present in the medium, lactoperon is off. So next question. The cavity present in the Graafian follicle is called the cavity present in the Graafian follicle. We know the Graafian follicle is the mature follicle. Mature follicle is known as Graafian follicle, and Graafian follicle. If you see that the structure of a Graafian follicle, there is fluid filled space is there. The fluid filled space is known as antrum. So if you see the structure of Graafian follicle, so Graafian follicle, in the outside some cells are there, and these cells are the thecal cells. Outside some cells are there, these are thecal cells, and inside some cells are there, these are granulosa cells. So these granulosa cells fill up the inner side, and these are the ovum containing oocytes. So these are thecal cells. These are granulosa cells, and these are the primary oocyte. And these are the granulosa cells, and these are the antrum. Antrum is the fluid filled space of Graafian follicle. It's called antrum. The cavity or fluid filled space in the Graafian follicle is called antrum. So answer is antrum. Now, next, if a cross between two individuals produce offspring with 50% dominant character and 50% recessive character, then the genotype of the parents will be now 50% recessive character and 50% dominant character. Now, if we cross capital A small a, capital A small a and capital A small a. So we'll get capital A, capital A, capital A small a, capital A small a, and small a small a. So here phenotypically dominant is 75% are phenotypically dominant and 25% are phenotypically recessive. So 75, 25. So it's not the answer. Now here see that. So capital A, capital A, and small a, capital A small a, capital A small a, capital A small a, capital A small a. So it's 100% are dominant character will produce in phenotypically dominant. Now, so it's also not correct. So capital A, and capital A small a, it's also not be capital A, and capital A small a, capital A small a, capital A, capital A small a, and capital A, capital A. So here all are 100% are dominant, right? So phenotypically dominant. Now come into the second option, capital A, small a, and small a. So capital A, small a, small a, capital A, small a. So here 2 among the 4, 2 is the phenotypically dominant and 2 is the phenotypically, so 50% dominant and 50% are recessive. Small a are the recessive and capital S small a is the heterozygous and phenotypically shows the dominant. Phenotypically normal it will show, so heterozygous. So it's a 50% are dominant, 50% are recessive in that case. Now next question. What was the most significant trend in the evolution of modern man, Homo sapiens, from the ancestor? We know that during evolution of human evolution, first is the trend that most important trend of increasing order, most important significant trend in the evolution of the modern man is that the cranial capacity, increasing brain capacity or cranial capacity. If we see that Australopithecus 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 have a brain capacity or cranial capacity CC, cranial capacity cranial capacity is 500 to 700 cc. In case of Homo habilis, sorry, it should be Homo habilis have brain capacity, Homo habilis brain cranial capacity 700 to 800 cc. Now Homo erectus erectus, its cranial capacity 940 cc. Now Homo erectus pekinensis and then Homo neanderthaliensis or Neanderthal, Homo neanderthaliensis, its cranial capacity 1300 to 1600 cc. Now Homo sapiens fossilis, Homo sapiens fossilis its cranial capacity 1650. So cc, what 1650 cc. But in case of Homo sapiens sapiens, that is modern human, Homo sapiens sapiens, its cranial capacity is almost 1600 cc. So here you can observe the trend of, but there is a modern human have lesser cranial capacity than Homo sapiens fossilis. Homo sapiens fossilis have 1650 cc, but Homo sapiens sapiens have 1600 cc. So gradually increasing cranial capacity, and one exception, small exception is there from here. Homo sapiens, Homo sapiens fossilis, and Homo sapiens sapiens. So answer is brain capacity. So next question.